Coming up, we have an in-depth report on how Buddhism and Tzu Chi came to rise in Taiwan. In Kaohsiung, farmers of DaAi Traceable Agricultural Products finally see a good harvest this year. Welcome to DaAi Headlines. I'm Mary Lee. Thank you for joining us. We begin today's program in Jordan. Tzu Chi volunteers recently helped 2 Syrian refugees get the surgeries they needed. Of the 2 care recipients, one spent his life savings on a failed heart bypass surgery, and the other escaped to Jordan with a shattered hip. Let's take a look to see how the volunteers have provided their signature love and care.
Good morning, doctor. How are you this morning? Yeah, good.
Meeting up at a care recipient's house, Dr. Manzur, who is Syrian, and Tzu Chi volunteers are visiting Saddam. Saddam had sustained multiple injuries when his home in Syria was bombed. He managed to escape to Jordan with his family of 6. However, he never fully recovered from his injuries, which included a shattered hip. Thankfully, he had received the treatment he needed thanks to Tzu Chi and Dr. Manzur. In addition, Tzu Chi volunteers in Jordan have also reached out to Abdul Maksud Tash, who had spent his life savings on a failed bypass surgery, which subsequently endangered his life. Hearing of his problems, Tzu Chi volunteers quickly came to his assistance and helped him with a stent surgery.
I've been to many charity organizations to seek help, but they all rejected me at the door. Tzu Chi was the only one to lend a hand. I used to get tired all the time, but after the surgery, I feel much better.
Tzu Chi volunteers in Jordan continue to safeguard Syrian refugees who fled their hometowns, giving them much-needed support on this foreign land. The Tzu Chi Foundation was founded 50 years ago. We rejoice and celebrate this remarkable milestone with our new series this week, which will help everyone understand how it all started 50 years ago. In the first of our series today, we will also learn the origin of such concepts such as Buddhism in action and walking the Bodhisattva path. Here is our in-depth report.
他就是说，你我师徒因缘很特殊，时间很紧迫，要记得，既然有这样的因缘未来你一定要为佛教、为众生。
1963 marked the first ever foreign trade surplus in Taiwan's history, and aid from the U.S. ended in 1965, which meant Taiwan had become financially independent.
As Taiwan's economy began to take off, everything changed rapidly. In 1962, the country had its first TV station. By 1965, the United States ended its aid program to Taiwan. In 1966, the country's main export shifted from agricultural goods to light industrial goods. Then, in 1968, the 9-year compulsory education system was implemented, and 1970 marked the beginning of a long-term trade surplus.
As the country's industrial focus shifted, so did its social structure. As people's livelihood improved, they began to embrace Chinese culture to fulfill their spiritual needs.
However, at the time, Buddhism that came from China had deviated into superstitious religious practice due to circumstances.
In the past, when people talked about Buddhism, terms like bhikkhu and bhikkhuni didn't exist. People used monks and nuns, while Buddhism was associated with memorial service and religious ceremonies.
At
the time, there were various religions in Taiwan. There were the Buddhism from Japan, Taoism, and the Chinese Salvationists.
Believing that Buddhism should return to the teaching of the Buddha, Venerable Master Ying Shun began promoting humanistic Buddhism. This renaissance of Buddhism was just what Taiwanese were looking for, and the concept quickly took off in the 60s and 70s. The advent of Tzu Chi Foundation in 1966, Fo Guangshan the next year, and the predecessors of Dharma Drum Mountain Nonchan Temple in 1971 ushered in the new chapter of Buddhism in Taiwan.
In an agriculture-focused community, people would and had to rely on one another. However, the coming of industrial age brought about a revolution that changed everything, and people needed to learn to help one another again. The late Master Sun Yan joined followers with Zen. At the time, people experienced a lot of stress as the economy took off. So through meditation, people learned Buddhist teachings. Another major sect was Foguangshan, founded by Master Xingyun, which brought Buddhism out of temples in the mountains and into communities.
Venerable Master In Shun was inspired by Venerable Master Tai Shu's teachings, and Master Tai Shu's disciple, Dharma Master Tzu Hang, also advocated that Buddhism should be centered on charity, education, and culture, which coincided with Tzu Chi's 4 missions.
印顺导师说，对人间佛教的
Master
定义
In Shun defined humanistic Buddhism as pursuing the Bodhisattva path using this rare human form that we have been
就是人
given.
菩萨行这4个字。
A follower of Master In Shun's teachings, Dharma Master Ho Guan says, according to the Venerable Master, humanistic Buddhism should adapt to the needs of people, which means promoting the teachings of the Buddha through acts of charity and adapting to the changing world.
那佛它的特性最主要
What sets Buddhism apart from other religions is the emphasis placed on selflessness. And thus, humanistic Buddhism must be carried out without bias and selfish intents.
来行一切善法。
As Master Zhen Yin took in her master's teachings, she also borrowed from the service-oriented practices of Western religions, which changed the face of Buddhism in Taiwan.
你其他宗教
Since other religions offered social services, so why can't Buddhism? I think that was a turning point. Before, Buddhism was about meditating in seclusion and religious ceremonies. Instead of having followers visit temples, now it has taken on a different form.
Without needing to choose between renouncing or embracing the world, Master Zhen Yin has forged a new path to enlightenment accessible to all and allowed Buddhism to return to its true nature, which is to serve.
对人间佛教也是
One who has contributed greatly to the realization of humanistic Buddhism is none other than Tzu Chi's Master Zhen Yan. She has exemplified the compassion of the Buddha through charity work and saw the fruits of her labor blossom all over the world.
Tzu Chi followers have served the world selflessly for 50 years. In the future, the organization and its followers shall continue their work for Buddhism and all living beings. To many of the Tzu Chi volunteers participating in Master Zhen Yin's morning sermon, wisdom at dawn is the proper way to start their day. By taking the Dharma passed on by the Master to heart, they can better cope with the confusion and troubles, so they can better focus on what they need to get done for the day. We now meet Zhuang Yizhen of Taoyuan, who does exactly this.
At 4:50 every morning, Tzu Chi volunteer Zhuang Yizhen reports to Taoyuan's Jinsi Hall.
I come for the Wisdom at Dawn broadcast every morning. It has become a part of my life. That's why I come every day. It's as if I'm right beside Master Zhen Yan. By taking the Dharma into my heart and settling my mind, I then know how to go about my day.
Due to presbyopia, Zhuang takes notes with a pair of glasses. The wisdom she has gained serves like a mirror in her heart and helps her unravel the mystery of life.
The action and cultivation in this passage is referring to probably everything we do, including our speech.
Zhuang also serves as a guide in the book club and volunteers at a local recycling station. To her, enlightenment can be found even when organizing food wrappings.
By organizing the wrappings neatly, it's as if we're untying the clutter and confusion within our hearts.
Taking in the Dharma to enlighten both herself and others, Zhuang is determined to strengthen her self-cultivation.
Beginning in 2010, the Ministry of Education encouraged schools around Taiwan to adopt vegetarian meals so students may help reduce carbon emission, and Zhanghua County was the first local government to respond to the call. The Department of Education of the county issued a mandate to the schools within its jurisdiction to provide meatless lunches to their students on Mondays. Then in 2015, the county government made Meatless Mondays optional for the schools to participate in. However, many schools decided to stay on board with the program.
Grade 1 students are chatting about one special thing they will have on Monday.
礼拜一没有肉啊，我们 们原本周一就是无肉日了。
The lunch is coming, and the students expect it a lot. The meals they will have include mushrooms with gluten, carrots with eggs stir-fry, vegetables, rice, and seaweed soup.
In addition to meat, we can also get protein from eggs and soybean products. Plant proteins are actually better than animal proteins because the former has fewer burdens on our body.
In mushrooms with gluten, there are edamame beans, mushrooms, peanuts, and lily mushrooms. The combination is organized by nutritionists, so the parents don't need to worry if the lunch has a balanced nutrition.
吃菜这碗把麦仔较多啊，对不对？对吧？哈，都可以呀、改善，对啊，不错啊。
平常都是吃肉吃的蛮多的，所以偶尔吃一下青菜也不错。
Zhanghua County has been promoting the weekly vegetarian diet since 2010. The county government stipulated that 215 schools in the county to provide meatless lunch on Monday to their 150,000 students at school.
The vegetarian diet makes students healthy, and it's good for the environment.
Schools in Zhanghua County have been providing vegetarian diets for 5 years. Although the county government has stopped forcing the schools to do it since 2015, most schools still chose to stay on board.
I hope this event can be spread to kids around the country so they can learn at a young age that being vegetarians can protect the earth.
Children explain why being vegetarian can save the earth passionately.
会伤害很多动物。
会伤害很多动物，好棒！因为我们的如果肉吃太多，就养更多动物，然后就杀害更多动物，好棒！好来，
对身体不好，要多吃蔬果才会健康。
哦，太棒了！
可以不用伤害很多动物，地球就有很多好朋友。
第五组。
Eating vegetarian meals shows you care about the environment, and these children are embracing that concept already.
Next, as we reflect on major Tzu Chi events last year, the assistance lent to victims of the Body Water Park explosion, which took place last June, was certainly unforgettable. Also, as always, the Buddhist charity celebrated the Buddha Day, Mother's Day, and Tzu Chi Day in May by spreading positive messages and promoting proper conduct.
In May, Tzu Chi turned 49 years old. To celebrate Buddha Day, Mother's Day, and Tzu Chi Day, Tzu Chi volunteers held Buddha Day ceremonies in 38 countries and regions around the world, including Taiwan, Malaysia, Nepal, South Africa, Lesotho, Mozambique, Indonesia, and the Philippines. In May, Tzu Chi Indonesia broke ground for a Tzu Chi hospital in Jakarta. It will be Tzu Chi's first hospital overseas and also Indonesia's first hospital equipped with bone marrow transplant facilities. For years, the volunteers in Indonesia have been promoting the practice of saving a little every day to help the needy, and their efforts have received a warm response from many people. In June, a powder explosion occurred at a water park in New Taipei City, Taiwan. Around 500 people were injured, with over 200 of them suffering severe burns. It was the deadliest accident in Taiwan since the massive earthquake in 1999. Learning of the disaster, Tzu Chi volunteers rushed to the site to provide aid. The next day, Tzu Chi volunteers in Taipei had a video conference with Dharma Master Zhengyan for her advice on their relief work. For over a month, they went to hospitals to bring supplies and meals to the families of the injured and give them emotional support. Tzu Chi volunteers even helped a farmer harvest his grapes so he could look after his son, who was also injured in the explosion.
对他很有感，他都一直安慰我们
这些师兄师姐们帮忙，所以我才有办法在这边安心的照顾我的小孩。
Tzu Chi volunteers even bought the grapes and delivered them to hospitals caring for the injured to thank medical personnel for their hard work. Prayer events were held across Taiwan to pray for the injured.
努力，不要放弃，这样。
Under loving care, many of the injured were able to take their first step on the journey to recovery.
日后他可能没办法像大家这么辛苦的所谓的做这个复健，但你们的复健会带给你们日后的一个所谓的新的人生。
你们的祝福，你们的无心的，就算那一句话，在我们心中。就像一只一只的萤火，就像它就是引导着我们未来的道路。
After the incident, Tzu Chi quickly developed new pressure garments that are breathable and feel cool to help reduce burn patients' discomfort.
不要放弃丝毫的希望，
我们一起加油。
我努力的走了过来，我相信你也可以。
In Taiwan, in the aftermath of Typhoon Morakot in 2009, Tzu Chi built a DaAi village in Shanling District, Kaohsiung, giving displaced residents a place to call home. Finding a way to make a living, a bunch of residents from the community banded together to rent a plot of land to farm. Later, we meet Zhen Xunan, who is the person leading the 20 or so farmers towards a brighter future. But first, let's take a look at their recent harvest season. Here in Kaohsiung, Wang Yuzhen, her son, and her grandchildren are farmers of Ai Traceable Agricultural Products. She describes farming as just like taking care of a child, and harvesting not only gives her great pride, but also allows her to feel the blessings of the land.
一颗种子就能够让我们
One seed can be grown to bear fruit and be enjoyed by everyone. It's really amazing.
想说，真的是很不容易。
All of the DaAi tap farmers are residents of the Shanling DaAi village, who had waited 5 years for Taiwan Sugar Corporation to approve them in renting this land. Now that harvest time has arrived, they have finally found the security and stability they were looking for.
Tzu Chi built us houses, gave us a place to grow roots. Now we also have a fruitful harvest. We are really enjoying life.
Also working as a team in their section of the farm fields is this father and son pair. The father, Jiang Huiliang, was the head of a Temple Fair parade formation before Typhoon Morakot destroyed his home. Thankfully, living in Tzu Chi's DaAi village has given him the strength to stand up once more.
Only when we settle down will we feel at ease. Now that we are harvesting, there is only one thing on our mind, and that is thank you.
就是一个心啦，感恩啦。
This 19.1 hectare plot of land has a total of 20 farmers working on it. Together, they have overcome many obstacles, and now they are ready to work towards further fulfilling their dreams.
这3排是跟农改场合作的。
All in all, Zhen Xunan has tried 6 different strains of pumpkins, not for agricultural research, but for the betterment of DaAi tap farming.
We tried to partner with Kaohsiung District Agricultural Research and Extension Station and use their new strain of products, try their new methods of farming. We don't want to be like farmers of the past.
Ever since Zhen became the leader of the group, he has come face to face with many challenges. However, he never gave up. Instead, he continues to look for new sources and assistance.
我们都会
We hold meetings and talk about our farming methods. In sharing our experiences, we become united in heart.
这一块来凝聚大家的共识。
In the future, Zhen hopes to lead everyone in working towards a more stable and secure yield of harvest. Also in Kaohsiung, in Jiaxian District, a group of seniors have learned to draw local sceneries and landmarks. Their instructor is Ma Ruoshan, who noticed that Jiaxian lost its vitality in the aftermath of Typhoon Morakot. Therefore, she hopes to encourage the elderly to draw their hometown while adding colors and passion to their own lives.
调水了，恁这有花不要紧，你就安尼甲画起哩。
Speaking Taiwanese, watercolor instructor Ma Ruosan demonstrates ways to paint to her students, who are mostly seniors in their 80s. Among these excited students is a great-grandpa who commutes to Jiaxian to attend this lesson.
This is very good. By painting, we won't develop dementia, so our children do not have to worry about us.
Ma Ruosan encourages her students to draw their hometown. Therefore, the students have painted streets and even landmarks of Jiaxian. Their works have been displayed in exhibitions, and some have been purchased.
The original bridge was destroyed during Typhoon Morakot. Since the new bridge reminds us of the terrible disaster that happened here, I have special feelings for it.
People like our paintings, so we are more confident and motivated to paint.
They had doubts. We're used to farming. How can you ask me to take up pens? We have never been to school. I said, that's fine, just paint for fun. Then they develop an interest in painting.
Having returned from the United States, Ma Ruosan noticed that her hometown Jiaxian district had lost its fertility after Typhoon Morakot. Therefore, she encourages the elderly here to paint and express themselves, adding color, confidence, and fun to their lives.
Since 2004 in the United States, Tzu Chi volunteers from the Dallas chapter have been providing aid relief for local students who come from disadvantaged backgrounds. Recently, volunteers visited various schools in the Dallas Independent School District to distribute uniforms to over 2,000 students, ensuring that they can start the next semester in style. That's all the time we have for today. Thank you for joining us. See you next time.